Wait, what was the question again for me?
What do you think is the formula to an effective R-rated sex comedy? Make it funny but not turn people off, or is it anything goes and this kind of stuff?
To be honest, I didn't realize I was writing such a raunchy movie. I think raunchy is completely fair and makes sense, but I was writing because the first hand job I gave was more instrumental in my life than the first time I had sex. And there's a very specific thing that happens at that point.
Oh,
And
you don't have
so
to tell
I
us
was
everything.
treating it. Well, no, this is a sex education class. No, but I really was just writing kind of, it is loosely. I didn't ever write an actual list, but I was just writing from that teenage point of view when you so badly want to know about something and the only way to know is to actually go through it. So I don't know that there's a formula, but I will say that when I wrote it, I didn't realize it was as frank as it is until had the cast start to perform things. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. So thank you, Aubrey, for still doing everything.
You know what's
You're welcome.
interesting about this film though is it's not, you mentioned American Pie, and I don't know that this movie and that movie go hand in hand because I mean American Pie is built around set pieces and props and big outlandish things that happen with apple pies and this isn't that's not where this film really comes from. I mean, it's a very real kind of yeah, it's coming of age, but it's more like a rite of passage. Men, women, everybody goes through these things in their own little way. But Maggie never tried to make a scene out of nothing just because she had an idea. This is all based out of reality. It's that's what attracted I think this cast to the script is that it's not the same as those other films. So
Rachel?
What advice do you give to people who are friend zone?
Oh, that's an interesting term. I've never heard that before. For people that are friend zoned, I would tell them keep your chin up, keep your eye on the prize, and find someone quickly to make your friend jealous, because that always works. Usually, like the most hurtful person that it could be, go after that person, and then see what happens, and then see how where your zone is.
Yes, sir, in the back.
Hey, can you talk a little bit about what are the advantages as a writer setting the movie in 1993, and what are the disadvantages as a director having a movie set in 1993?
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize this movie was period until my line producer kept telling me that the Ford Festiva from 1993 with the automatic seatbelts doesn't exist. So that was like a really shocking thing to me. But it was actually when I wrote it, you write what you know, and the more closer we got to production, and when I started working with Aubrey and the cast, I realized how different we would communicate as teenagers. We had the internet, but it wasn't the internet as we know it today. When my brother was online on a chat room, all I knew was that I couldn't get on the phone and talk to my friends. There was this really loud sound, that dial-up sound, and he was in a chat room, and I honestly thought he was going in a room and chatting with people. So that it didn't connect for me. But it is interesting how different teenagers today communicate. In our movie, we had an actor who Bill Hader, he had to go to Aubrey's house, which and knock on a door and see if she was there. So that was like some incredible history in the making that teenagers today don't get to experience. But I do think, the idea of all of these things that you have to check off on a list is still relevant. It's just the kids can now just Google it and find out right away whether or not they want to try one of those things.
Very good, man.
This a question for Maggie and for Clark. For Clark, first of all, is all of this scaring you as a parent as to what you're going to have to deal with your own daughter at some point? And for Maggie, your production design is impeccable. You and Mr. Berg did a great job. What were some of your primary source materials, and how hard was it to find so many sports in 2000?
Yes. My daughter's outside. of this room. She came with me to work today, but I realized there's nothing she can be part of that's related to this movie, even the press conference. It wasn't that I didn't trust you to ask appropriate questions, but of course I didn't. I yearn for the simplicity of this time where it feels like I would have a better shot at controlling the input. You know, I'm already dealing with, she's 11 and a half, and I'm already dealing with so many sources of digital information kind of crossing her field of vision that I watch this movie and I go, God, that would be so nice if I could just handle that money, if I could just keep her from taking on one of those jobs.